Hello everyone. As you probably gathered, this is one of my usual videos. Rather, this was made on request of a Reddit user who was interested in some wild hops we've got run over here, and I certainly would appreciate some information on them if anyone has them. Now, unfortunately, I can't show you them quite as well as I had hoped, due to the fact that basically what's happened is that these started shooting just when they cut this hedge right back. So what's happened is that these have grown up, and then the hedge is sort of bushed out, and you've got all this foliage that covers most of it, but there is a lot to see, and it travels for quite a long way. Now, here's the first bits, and I'll carry on talking as I walk around, because there is loads of these. Now, I'm calling these wild hops, but it's my guess that these are actually from sort of leftover, sorry about that noise, that these were left over from perhaps when this was once a hop yard. Now, I say that just because of how spread these are all the way up, and I'll show you some of it, just how sort of how widespread these are and how established. Now, the only problem with this sort of theory, at least, you see how sort of thick this is in places. The only problem with this idea is that I've actually looked back at the aerial photography of the area, and well, I've lived here for I think about 11 years in this area, and this has always been an orchard, and they grubbed it pretty much as soon as I arrived. They grubbed it and replanted it, which they do quite a lot around here, just to make the plants easy to pick, because now the trees are much shorter. But I look back at the aerial photography, and going back over 50 years, this has been an orchard of some variety. I can't really find any evidence of this being a hop yard. But these are so spread out and so established that I can't help but think that they must have been planted at some stage. Now, we are in sort of an area where lots of hops were grown. We're in Kent, England, obviously home to the Golding. We are, strictly speaking, East Kent. We're just outside of Maidstone, which is just on the east side of the Medway. And these are just growing like nobody's business all the way along. I'm trying to show you a bit where I can show you how far back into the hedge the growth is, just how thick these sort of vines are. I'm not doing a very good job, to be honest with you, but I noticed these last year. I just happened to be walking through and saw, because they're only just getting to the top of the hedge now, but there was loads up there last year, and I saw the flowers and noticed them, but I didn't brew beer at the time, so I wasn't massively interested. So I decided to check out this year, but I never suspected just how sort of look at that. That's just one of the end parts, and it's really, really, really thick, really well established. But anyway, so this sort of it was a bit late in the season to be harvesting rhizomes for sure, but I came back here and did a bit. I think it was about here actually. I think it was here that I did it, and I did some digging around here to try and harvest some rhizomes. And what I got weren't really rhizomes as much as just balls of roots, but underground, like the thickness of the roots was. I mean, there was ones literally like 3/4 of an inch in diameter. It was just incredibly well established. It was just a mess. There was rhizomes shooting off all over the place. So they are clearly very old. I just don't know how old or what variety. I mean, look at look at that. I was trying to, oh, pretty. That is incredibly thick, and that is going to grow up and over. And there's so many shoots everywhere. I don't know if these are fresh bines or if they are offshoots. But these are just growing really, really deep and really strong. And as you can see, they're already up over here, and it's fairly early on. So the only thing I'm not really sure is, obviously, as I said, how long these have been here. Obviously, they've been here a while. I don't know how they got here, if they are truly wild, which, to be honest, I doubt quite highly. Or if they were sort of left over from, if this was once a hop yard, they scrapped it but left some when that had grown up in the hedgerow, which is likely if they did grow hops here. I mean, just look at this bit. The other thing, I've got no idea what the variety is. Now, I'm kind of hoping that these are Goldings, purely because I use Goldings a lot. I like Goldings. There's also, I mean, there is a good chance we are, as I say, in East Kent. So, yeah, the chances that we have Goldings here are fairly high, but they could be, you know, they could be something like Fuggles, Targets, or God knows how many other hop varieties that have been grown here over the years. So I can't say for sure. Or if it's wild, it could be some weird hybrid variety. So we're gonna wait and see. I'd like to the rhizomes I harvest grew really well, really strong. They're the strongest I've got at the moment. The rest are all first year bought rhizomes, and these just took like nobody's business. So plan is, come harvest, I'm gonna pop back with a step ladder, and I'm gonna pick as many of these as I think I can use. Afterwards, I might later on harvest some rhizomes as well and plant those up if it's a variety that I want. What I'll probably do is make a sort of tea, I guess, with them, and judge them next to a few known varieties to try and work out roughly what we're dealing with, so I know how to use them properly. And what I want to do is, I mean, I'm going to dry some and freeze some, but I want to do a big wet hopped beer with fresh green hops. I'm probably not going to look at something like an IPA. I think if it's too heavily hoppy and you're using wet hops, there's just such an enormous volume of hops you're putting in, it will be a bit ridiculous. So I'll probably go for something still quite hoppy, something like a bitter, maybe sort of maybe a Kentish ale, or just a light ale, you know, just anything really. I just want to utilise these. It depends. It really just depends what they are. And then, as I say, I'm going to dry and stick them in some. I'll probably get some vacuum bags, actually, like the ones you put on the Hoover. Evacuate the air, freeze them. Hopefully they'll last a fairly long time. And most of the time, really, I'm getting into doing lagers, various types of ales and bitters, but really the thing I like brewing most is stouts. So to me, as long as they provide the right bitterness, the aroma isn't hugely important. So really, if they're Goldings, they'll be a good all-round hop for me, and hopefully we'll get some really interesting flavours off of them because of how old they are, or if it is a wild variety. There's one thing for sure, I certainly won't be running out of them. I don't know if anyone's interested in getting some of these rhizomes. I'll report back on what the actual flowers were like and how they worked in a beer. But we're getting right near the straggly end here. I mean, look at this little one, just growing up there through the weeds. But yeah, I don't know what variety we're looking at, but yeah, I'll hopefully be able to provide a bit more information on that. And if anyone wants some rhizomes, well, you know, I can harvest these without causing any damage. And well, even if I did cause catastrophic damage, I don't think I've got any any danger of harming the population. So yeah, it's quite interesting, and I'm looking forward to later in the year where I can harvest some of these and see exactly what we're dealing with. Now this is pretty much, they end from sort of this point onwards, and there's nothing really here. There's like 1 or 2 stragglers over there, but they're nothing to see really. But pretty much there's on and off. We've got hops all the way, and we're talking probably 200 meters plus another 25 to 50 around the corner. And the really established bits, I mean, they're going to grow and grow and grow, and they go way far back as well. It's hard to. I wish I'd have done this earlier in the year where I could fully show off the extent of them, because a lot of it's now hidden. But needless to say that there are so many hops here. So I think this has gone on long enough, and yeah, hopefully some people a bit more experienced with this sort of thing might be able to shed a bit of light. But truthfully, I don't think, you know, hops are one of those things you can't really identify much just by looking at them. So I mean, you can get an idea of how old they are, I guess, maybe by the thickness and that sort of thing, and just how established they are. But I'm guessing that really, to get a proper idea, we're going to have to do some testing. And I intend to do extensive testing. Okay, see you later.